don't give up, it's not over yet, and we'll talk about that next.
Greg Fritz Ministries wants to give you a free booklet entitled Get Your Vision Back that accompanies this television series as our gift to you. To receive your free printed copy of this booklet, call us at 918-878-8000. To download the ebook version, visit our website at gregfritz.org. Are you tired of hearing bad news? Tune into the good news of the gospel.
I love Greg.
I love the way he teaches faith and the way he teaches healing. It's phenomenal.
Greg Fritz has been changing lives through the good news of the gospel for over 35 years.
Because he delivers the Word of God with such warmth and balance and great clarity.
This good news will inspire, inform, and change you so you can live daily in all the promises of God. Welcome to Good News with Greg Fritz.
Hello, I'm Greg Fritz. Welcome to the Good News program. We are doing a new series, only 10 episodes, on Get Your Vision Back. And I've got this available in CD and USB. And you can get this series right here. If you request a CD or USB version, we will mail that to you for a gift of $24 or more. And we also have it available in downloadable MP3 files. That would be, you go to the computer and you go to my website and download it. It's a $16 value. But if you enter the code VISION24 at checkout, the coupon code VISION24, you can have that free. And so if you're a downloader, if you love to download and listen on your devices that way, be sure and go to the website and get that. And I'm going to say a little bit more about this later, but if you become a partner with us this week, if you decide, you've been thinking about it and you say, you know what, I'm going to partner with you for the next 12 months, I'll send you your choice, CD or USB, free of charge. So you'll just if you're praying about it, this is a great time. We are in a great position to grow and reach people, and we would love to have you help us. In fact, all that you see here, this studio and these offices and whatnot, were paid for by our partners, people who, if you're new to this program, they really did fund all of this. And I'm so thankful for what they've been able to do and our partner base has allowed us to do. And if you'd like to be part of that, this is a great time to sign up and be a partner right here at Greg Fritz Ministries. And you can do that by calling the helpline. That's one way to do it. Or they'll put the ways to give on the screen, and you can use the text to give number or the QR code, and use your phone, and you can set up a recurring gift. And if you decide to do that, a gift of $25, $50, or $100 a month, there are different partner levels, call us or email us and say, hey, I became a partner. Please send me my free version of Get Your Vision Back. And then tell them I want it in CD or I want it in USB. And we will send that as part of your partner gift pack. So that's a great value. And I tell you, I'm on a mission with this series to encourage you and to break the bonds of depression, sadness, discouragement off your life. If you are sitting there at home and you can't believe the direction that the world is going and how fast it's declining and you don't know what to do about it, watch this program. There are things that you can do personally and no one can stop you. And Habakkuk felt some of the same things that we're feeling. He saw some of the same things we're seeing right now in his day. And I'm going to start by reading you Habakkuk's prayer in Habakkuk 1 in the New Living Translation. It says in verse 2, "How long, O Lord, must I call for help, but you do not listen? Violence is everywhere. I cry, but you do not come to save. Must I forever see these evil deeds? Why must I watch all this misery?" I just think people today have been asking those same questions, maybe, quietly or just to themselves, but they're wondering some of these same things because really things haven't changed that much since the days of Habakkuk. People are still trying to live their life, and other people are trying to stop those people from living their lives or change it or challenge it or control it, take over. If everybody was like me, the world would be a better place. I really don't want to control anybody. Once once your kids grow up and do what they want to do, you realize I don't really control that much, and I'm okay with that. Let people make their choices. But where I draw the line is when they want to control what I do. Now that makes me mad. I don't want people in offices somewhere that I've never met deciding how I live my life, what I say, what I think, and what I do. I just don't like it. I resist that. And so what do you do about it? And I'll tell you, don't give in to intimidation. Don't allow the current state of things to get in your head. God has not changed. His word has not changed. His promises to you have not changed. So Habakkuk was seeing all these things and trying to draw some conclusion from it. So he said this, "Must I forever see these evil deeds? Why must I watch all this misery? Wherever I look, I see destruction and violence. I am surrounded by people who love to argue and fight. The law has become paralyzed, and there's no justice in the courts. The wicked far outnumber the righteous, so that justice has become perverted." And we've seen evidence of these things in every level of society. And you don't have to look far to see these abuses of power in all of our institutions. But what are we supposed to do about it? And then let me just say this. I mean, I'm a preacher, so I'm going to see it from my angle. But the church has lost her influence in the world and in our culture. The world's not listening to the church anymore. If you have been a part of the church for generations or for decades, like I have, there was a time when there was, whether you liked them or not as a person or agreed with all their doctrine, we had people like Jerry Falwell, who was very political. We had people like Billy Graham, who was very involved in the culture. We had leaders like Rex Humbard and Oral Roberts and different men of God and women of God like Catherine Kuhlman that spoke and people listened. And I'll tell you, the world was a better place. It was a safer place. It was a more healthy place. And because our culture has turned away from God, our nation, if you're an American, doesn't even want to be called a Christian nation anymore. They want to get away from biblical values, like somehow the Ten Commandments is being imposed on society. Society would be much better off if we lived by the Ten Commandments, no doubt about it. So the further away from God and the influence of God and the church that the world gets, the worse it is to live here, the worse it gets. And that's just, if you read the Old Testament, you see that cycle repeated over and over and over again with the children of Israel. No one's really immune to this. It happens every time people get in charge. What's difficult is to watch a country like America, which was founded by Christians on Christian values, and they've tried to erase that from history, but it's true. The Constitution of the United States was built on Christian values. The court system and the laws in the United States were built on biblical values. They may not have all been Christian, but they were basing the laws on Christian values, and that preserved us. And for people like you and me who grew up here in a Christian nation, especially if you lived through the 70s and 80s and the charismatic movement, it's difficult to watch what's happening. It's very painful because you're seeing something that you loved and you cared about and you believed in, your country, and you see it going in the wrong direction, and we feel powerless to do anything about it. That's exactly what Habakkuk was dealing with. When Habakkuk wrote these words, prayed these words, and they were recorded, Israel had gone far away from God. King after king had denied God, and they were almost to the place where they were going to be overrun by the Babylonians, and Nebuchadnezzar was going to take them captive and take away their nation. And they were at that place because they'd gone away from God. So are you implying that about America? No, I'm not. I don't know the future of America. All I know is that we have a responsibility to live our lives and to live them out to the end. And if you're tempted to draw back and be discouraged and give up hope, that's exactly what the enemy wants. I'm not giving in to it. I want to reverse this and say in an evil world that's fallen far away from God, that doesn't want God in their conscience, I want to live a life for God, be salt and light, a preserving factor, and influence people. In fact, we stand out a lot more now because the world's gotten so dark. And so it's a time for people to make choices. And it really does concern me, anger me, that the enemy has, and current events and society has made people want to not live their life, not have children, not go out into society, hole up in their homes and watch life go by. We weren't made to live that way. And I want to encourage you, get your vision back. Things are not any worse now than they were in the days of Habakkuk. And without giving away the whole story, which you need to read the book of Habakkuk and you can see it, but he got his vision back. Society didn't change. The conditions around him did not change, but he got his vision back. And he did it by going through certain steps that we're going to follow him in this teaching. And if it worked for him, it is going to work for us. So first he made his case to God, and he just said things are just bad and you don't seem to be doing anything. And as I said this, and I'm going to make note of this briefly here again, and that is, I could spend the entire program every day on this program talking about how evil it is and going into all of the corruption that is being exposed, and tell you who's doing what and who's saying what. As far as I could tell from the news, I mean, you got to get your information from the news, and half the time I don't think it's accurate. Let me just say it that way. There's certainly an agenda there, and I don't like for the world and the news to set my agenda. I don't want to make this program talking points from news headlines. I'd rather go to the Bible and tell you what God said. Are there conspiracies? Sure. The biggest conspiracy of all is that there's an invisible army that's been sent to the earth to kill, steal, and destroy you and your life. How do you like that? To me, that dwarfs every other conspiracy that they've ever come up with. This world is full of demons. They can't override your will. That's the good part of the situation. But they're trying to get people to submit or surrender or to willingly lay down their vision. What they're doing, it'd be like, let's say your vision for the future, for your life, the promises God has made you is like a football. They don't have the right to take that ball away from you. They don't have the right to steal it. God's given you free will. So what they want to do is get you so discouraged, so disappointed, so depressed that you give it up willingly, that you just throw the ball on the ground and say, you know what, this isn't worth it, take my vision. That would be something like what Esau did when he sold his birthright for a bowl of soup. Don't fall for this lie. You have a lot to live for. If you're still alive and you still love God and you still believe the Bible, you're in this thing. You're not on the sidelines sitting on the bench. Don't think that. Don't act that way. You have a life to live. And so we could go through these conspiracy theories, and let me just tell you, there's not a monster under your bed. Have we not gotten, there's no monster in your closet at night when you turn, that's more about the child's thinking than it is the bed or the closet. Now, there may be a demon under your bed, and there may be lots of them, because they're everywhere. But you know what? You have authority over that. You don't have to submit to their thoughts. You don't have to submit to their will. You don't have to submit to the spirit of this age that is anti-Christ and anti-Christian. You don't have to give in to that. You can resist it and live your life. Rather than focusing on what's real, which is demon power, and there's good and evil in this world, there's God and the devil, there's right and wrong. We could actually make progress if we would focus on that as a society. If society didn't ignore the fact that there's a God and try to act like there is no God, there is no spirit world, there's no life after death. So what they do is get fixated on aliens, which to me, this is the biggest joke. Aliens. Really? Let's think about this for just a minute. Do you know how far the closest I researched this just for you. The closest planet to planet Earth that could even support life, it probably doesn't, but it could, is so far away that if we were to travel there in our spacecrafts, it would take thousands of years. So let's put ourselves in the aliens' mindset for just a moment. They have embarked on let's just say a 2,000-year journey. Suppose they live longer than us. So they've been traveling for 2,000 years to get to the blue planet because there might be life on. They can't tell from that distance, so they have to come here and find out. So when they get here, after a 2,000-year journey in a saucer, they refuse to make contact with obvious life, intelligent life on this planet. What do they choose to do? No, let's not land. Let's not make contact. Let's not take a bathroom break. Let's not get some food, stretch our legs. Let's just wait around till night and scare them. Let's just do that. We'll appear to them at night and then disappear. Let's do that. Is that really, to me, it just makes no sense. Now, they may discover an alien and whatever and blow all this out of the water, but to me, it makes no sense that you would take a 2,000-year journey and then not make contact with intelligent life. Instead, you would fly around and scare planes in the middle of the night. And it's always in the middle of the night. When there's legions of devils here, and they have made their purpose very clear, they want to kill you. Can we just focus on the big things? And not get distracted. It's a waste of effort. And it's a tactic of the enemy. You know, if I was the devil, I'd try to tell people there's no God and no devil too. And if you get people to believe that, you can really take advantage of them. But if we understand the score and we know what's behind the scenes that's working, we can decide where we fit in the big picture. And as I've said before, I'm not on God's not on my team. I'm on His team. He's the one with the team. He's the leader. And so my job is to live my life for Him. And I might not be able, even though I would love to be able to change the world with this program, with a meeting, with some sermon that goes viral. Wouldn't that be awesome if I could preach a sermon? And if I found a lamp with a genie and they gave me 3 wishes, I'd only have one wish. Here's my one wish. I would like to preach a sermon on my program that would go viral and change the whole world. That would be my one wish. Wouldn't that be amazing? And make everything right and no more problems. Everybody love each other and let's just change the world. It's not going to happen. And so, you know what? It's not even probably going to be as good in this world as it was when I grew up. So what's the alternative? What's the choice? What's the objective? You know what? You may not be able to change the world by yourself with one act or one lifetime. But you know what you can do? You can live for God another day. You can believe His promises another day. You can take another step forward. And even if you took 3 steps back, you can get back up on your feet and say, today I'm going forward. Today I'm going to love God. Today I'm going to believe His Word. Today I'm not going to be distracted by conspiracy theories. I'm not going to wonder and waste my time thinking about what could be and should be and would be and all of the speculation that goes on today. I'm going to get in the Bible. And maybe that's why I'm with you. Man, I've been praying like never before. And I get up and pray. And I get to a point where it's like, yeah, I'm going to live my life. I am going to live my life. You can do that. You can pray in the Spirit, get in the Word every day until you're ready to move forward, until you're ready to turn the news off. And man, I know there are many people in this boat, and I'm sorry. Maybe we haven't done a very good job as leaders, but there are people that are turning on the TV and looking online every single day to find some spiritual Christian expert to give them some hope, to tell them something. There's some election or some political figure or the army or somebody's going to change things. And they get just breadcrumbs. They just get just nuggets. It's such a waste of time. Listen, go to the Word. Let me tell you what God told Habakkuk. This should change your whole paradigm right here. Habakkuk prayed this prayer about how bad things were. He looked at society and everything was going downhill. Everything is in decline. And he said, okay, I'm going to wait and I'm going to listen to see what God says. And here's what God said. I mean, this should change everything. Here's what God said to him, and I believe He's saying it to you. He said in Habakkuk 1:5, in fact, turn there if you don't believe me. It's in your Bible. And God's Word is eternal. So if it was real and true when He said it, it's real and true right now. Take this as your word from God. God said, look among the nations and watch. Be utterly astounded. For I will work a work in your days which you would not believe, though it were told you. Can I just tell you right now, God is still alive. God is still working. It's not time to throw in the towel. Things have not gotten so... It's like saying that a sinner is so bad, society is so bad, it can't be rescued. That's like saying a sinner is so sinful, they can't be saved. No, that's not true. Any sinner can turn to God. Any society can turn to God, no matter how far away they've gone. I just want to encourage you today. This whole series is about this. Do not give up on God. And that's what he's reminding Habakkuk. Habakkuk had just given him all these negative facts. And God said, you're going to be astounded. I'm going to do something that you wouldn't even believe if I told you. Well, He's the same God. He can still work a work in our days that's beyond our imagination. And I'm not going to quit believing that. Why? Because He's done it before. And He's made me promises. He's made my wife promises. He's made other friends of mine promises that have not yet been fulfilled. I'm doing this series right now, right here on this program, because I believe God's told you things that haven't happened yet. I believe God's promised you things that He hasn't done yet. And I know that the nature of faith and the nature of living life for God, you're tempted at times to quit believing, to give up, to give in, to just throw in the towel. Don't do it. It's not over yet. God is still God. He can do things that no one could even believe. And there's ample scriptures about this, and I'm going to go into this. Let me read this one. Isaiah 46, verses 9 through 11. God is reminding us of who He is. He says, remember the former things of old, for I am God and there is no other. I am God and there's none like me. Sometimes people have the idea that, there's God on one side and Satan and his kingdom on the other, and they're just equally opposing each other. That's just not true. God has no match. He has no equal. He's the only reason that the devil still exists, the only reason you and I still exist, the only reason that non-believers still exist is because God allowed it. Did you know the only reason people live in this world and they ignore and deny the fact that God is, the only reason they have an opportunity to do that is because God allows it? Man, He could step in and change things fast. But He does it through awakenings and revivals, and He has His ways to reach societies. And I tell you, He's made promises. He's going to reach people in our lifetime. The world is getting, we just have to let these things work out. The world's getting uncomfortable. They're getting convicted. They're getting disappointed. They're realizing that nothing works. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. They're getting open to new ideas, which for them the gospel would be. It might not be new to us, but man, to the majority of people in the world today, the gospel is a whole new thought. I mean, they didn't go to church. Their parents didn't go to church. Now even their grandparents didn't go to church. So what's happening is the world is getting frustrated and desperate. Not necessarily a bad thing. But the church can't go down with them. We've got the answer. We have what they need. So He says, remember the former things. I'm God, there is no other. I'm God, and there's none like me. Declaring the end from the beginning, and from ancient times things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure. I love that. What God is saying is, I'm going to do what I said I would do. I'm going to keep my promises. And you can count on that. He says, calling a bird of prey from the east, and a man who executes my counsel from a far country. Indeed, I have spoken it, and I will also bring it to pass. I have purposed it, I will also do it. And when you really get in the Spirit, get in the Word, and you see and hear God talk like this, you go, wow, yeah, I know you're God. Why would I ever doubt that? Why did I ever question that? You're God. You do what you say you would do. And so if God has made you promises, don't allow the world to talk you out of it. Don't get discouraged. Don't allow it. You know, discouragement and fear they're spirits. And it takes some resistance to get rid of them, and you can do that. And this is why I'm so frustrated at times with the attention that's given to things that are they just don't matter. By focusing on conspiracies and aliens and other problems or so-called problems in the world, climate change, instead of, hey, let's just resist discouragement. Let's resist doubt and fear. Let's walk by faith. Let's move forward today in the area, in the realm of faith. Let's believe God for another day. Let's carry this promise for another day. Let's move forward for another day. Let's say, thank you, God, that you're alive and you always do what you said. Let's say that another day. You can do that. You'll never get to the bottom of all these conspiracies, but you can get to the core principles here in the Bible and actually practice them, and it'll change the way you look at life. I know I'm coming on a little strong, maybe. I don't know what you're used to, but I just want to drive discouragement, doubt, and fear right out of your life. There's no more reason today to doubt and distrust God and fear and dread the future as there was 20 years ago. There's no greater reason today. It has absolutely, outward circumstances have nothing to do with God's supernatural power at work in your life, bringing His will to pass for you. And boy, you've got to be convinced of that. And so that's what I'm telling you today. Get this series, and if you'd like to watch all 10 of the episodes on this program on Get Your Vision Back, go to YouTube. Go to our YouTube channel. They're all 10 there. We'll have them there. We're going to fast track them. We don't normally put the programs from here to there that quickly, but I'm going to put them up there so you can go watch all of them, or you can get your downloaded free copy. Get those teachings and feed on them. It's time for drastic measures. You've got to really fight for your joy, your peace, and your excitement for the future. Don't let the world rob you of that. Well, God bless you. I hope you got something out of this. Don't miss the next program. Until then, let me remind you that the good news is so good, the bad news doesn't matter.